Right, so let's see how to do interactive reporting in Webdynpro ALV. So this is the requirement. Whenever we execute the Webdynpro component, we should display the initial view, which should contain what sales orders, and in that the sales document should be shown as what buttons. Sales document should be displayed as what button. Okay. On click of this sales document, we should display the item data. In this item data, material number should be shown as what hotspot. When I click on this material, I have to show the material ALB grid showing what material plant data. Okay, so this is the ALV interactive reporting. So let's see how to do this. Okay, so let me go to the Webdynpro component. So here I'll choose Webdynpro component. I'll give the component name. 23. I'll give the window name, window, view name. I'll give something V1. Continue. Right. So overall, how many views we require here? 3 views. 1, 2, 3 views we require. Let me create those 3 views. So already view 1 is there. Let me create another view. Create view 2. Right. View 2 is created. Let me save it once. I'll create another view. I'll say create v3 view 3. Okay, so 3 views are what created. Okay, done. Now I have to navigate from what one view to what another view. So I require what outbound plug here, I require inbound plug here, I require outbound plug, again I require what inbound plug. So let me create those outbound plugs and inbound plugs. In view 1, let me create the outbound plug. So I'll give the plug name as to view 2. I'll give the description, navigate to view 2. Okay, then in v2 I'll give the inbound plug. Let me give the inbound plug name as from view 1, navigated from view 1, navigated from view 1. Done. And from view 2 I have to again navigate to what, view 3. So I require outbound plug here. In the same v2 I'll give the plug name as to view 3, provide some description, navigate to view 3. Okay, in v3 I require what, inbound plug. So I'll go to v3, I'll give the inbound plug name as from view 2. I'll give the description, navigated from view 2. Done. Okay, done. So we have created the views and we have created the plugs. Then here in all these things I have to show the data in ALV format now. So I require three nodes, and where those three nodes should be available, at component controller level. Understood? All these are what, final nodes only. So in ALV all the final nodes should be at what component controller level. Let me go to component controller. I'll create the context nodes. Create node. I'll give the node name as VBAK node. Dictionary structure is ZCVBAK. Cardinality I'll choose 0 to n. I'll add the attributes from the structure. Okay, done. Then I'll create another node. Right click on this, create node. VBAP underscore node. Dictionary structures CCVBAP. Cardinality let me choose 0 to n. I'll add the attributes from the structure. Done. Then I'll create another node. MARC underscore node. I'll give the dictionary structure ZCMARC. Cardinality I'll to 0 to n. There is no structure with what? ZCMARC. Let me check ZMARC. Not there. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I'll refer to what? MARC directly. Am I clear? So I'll add the attributes from the structure. Let me take some only few fields. Actually, this is not good practice. It is not a good practice. So either you create the fields manually or you create a custom structure and select that. So I'll give MARC directly. It has to show all the fields of MARC. Right, so let me select MATNR, what, WARKS, that is plant, and select what, EK GRB. So let me select only few fields, MATNR and what, works. MATNR works and what, EK GRB. Done. So nodes are what, created. Right, then what I have to do, anyhow we require the navigation link na? Okay, so let me do that part also. First of all, let me plug all the three views to what, window. By default first view is plugged, so I'll go to window. Right, view 1 is plugged. Let me plug the other two views also. V2 is plugged to the window, V3 is plugged to the window. Okay, in V1 we have the outbound plug, in V2 we have the inbound plug. Okay, so I'll right click on the outbound plug, create navigation link, destination view. Let me browse destination view. I'm browsing that. What is the destination view? what v2. Okay, so outbound plug of v1 is linked with inbound plug of what v2. Done. This is okay. Then v2 also contains one outbound plug. Right click on this and link it with the inbound plug of what third view. So v3, so v2 of outbound plug is linked with the inbound plug of what v3. Done. So navigation link is what established. Done. Okay, am I clear? Then in all these things I have to display the data in the LV format na. So I require view container na. So let me take the view containers. In each of the views I'll go to the layout, I'll take a view container. View container UI element. Done. Let me do it for v2 also. I'll go to view to layout. In view to layout also I'll right click on this. I'll say we can't view container UI element. Let me save it. Done. Then I'll double click on the v3. For v3 layout also, insert element, we can't, I'll give view container UI elements. Done. So all the three view containers are placed. Okay, then what you have to do, I have to embed that what external window na. I have to embed the external window. So before that what I'll do is I have to display the ALV in how many views? Three views. So I require three different component usages. Three different component usages. So as part of my what Webdynpro component, here I'll say what SLW table, here also SLW table, SLW table. Here let me use ALV what VBAK. What else? ALV VBAP. I'll say ALV MARC. So I'm creating what three different component usages. Okay, done. Am I clear? Then what you have to do, if you go to the window level, each of the view contains what view containers, right? I have to embed the external view now. So right click on what view container, embed view. Okay, so which view I have to embed here? What? Yes, ALV what VBAK table na. Am I clear? ALV VBAK table. Done, it is embedded. Then I'll go to v2 v container, right click on this, embed view, view to be embedded. What is this? ALV of what? Sorry, VBAP table, this only. Okay, done. Continue. Then v3, right click on the view container, embed view, view to be embedded. I'll choose what table of what ALV MARC. Done. Okay, then I have to do the external context mapping now. So where you have to do under what component usage, we have three component usage under ALV VBAK. If you go to interface controller, right, what is that you have to map here? VBAK node na, right? VBAK node. In the first view we are going to display what sales orders VBAK. So what I have to do, I'll double click on ALVBAK interface controller, controller usage. What is the node? This component controller only. Done. What is the node you have to map first? Yes, VBAK node. I'll map it to what? Data node. I mean, which component usage? ALV, VBAK. Then let me go to what? ALV, VBAP. Double click on interface controller. Okay, so here I'll choose this. What is that I have to choose? Again, component controller only. What is that node? For the data node, you have to map what? VBAP node. Done. Then I'll go to what? Interface controller of what? ALV MARC. Here also, if you go to component controller, I have to map what? MARC node with what? Data node. So I'll just drop it on what? Data node. External mapping for context element data is what? Defined. So I'll save it. Done. So I have done all the minimum things. Okay, done. Now let me create the Webdynpro application. By default, any of view 1 is what? Default view. Let me save it. Okay, all the settings are what? Done. Let me activate your old component. Okay, so meanwhile, I'll repeat the process here. I have to display the interactive ALV reporting. So what is the approach I followed? I created three views, V1, V2 and V3. Then since I have to navigate from one view to another view, I require what? Outbound plug and what? Inbound plug. So in V1 I create outbound plug. In V2 I created outbound plug as well as what? Inbound plug. And in V3 I created what? Inbound plug. Then I embedded all these three views to what? Window level. Then at the window level, I've established what? Navigation link. Outbound plug of first view is linked with what? Inbound plug of second view. Then outbound plug of second view is linked with what? Inbound plug of what? What? Third view. Okay. Then what else? Since we require the data in what? ALV format, I require three nodes, and those three nodes we must create at what level? Component controller level. Then what I did, uh, I created them at the component controller. Then I require three component usages. Then under each component usage, I have mapped the appropriate node with what? Data nodes. Am I clear? So it is activated, done. Now when I execute this, yeah. So what I got here, I got the view one, which contains what? The template of what? VBAK. Now I have to default the data. Na? And default the data. So in which method I'll write the logic? In the WD do init method. Okay, so let me just minimize it. In the WD do init method of what? V1. Am I clear? So in that I'm doing in a sequence. So try to understand the flow. The first method called is what? WD do init. So here I need to default the data. So I require which node here? VBAK node. Na? So VBAK node is available at what level? Component controller level. So let me do the internal context mapping first. Done. Okay. Now I require what first? Internal table. So get what? Get default sales order. So it's a data T underscore VBAK type WD underscore this of what? Elements underscore VBAK underscore what? Note. Elements underscore VBAK underscore note. Select what? Weblen ERDAT ERZDT ERNAM from what? VBAK into table T underscore VBAK up to what? I'll say some what? 10 rows. Okay. If what? Size of ours is equal to what? 0. I require the reference of this node to bind the data. Na? So get the reference of the node. Which node? VBAK underscore node. So data context underscore VBAK node type ref to if underscore W underscore context node. Get the reference of the VBAK node first. It is available as a child. So under root context node get child node. Name of the node is what? wd underscore this of what, wd context underscore vbak underscore node receiving. I'll receive it inside my reference context underscore vbak underscore what node. Then as usual you'll say, yeah, what you'll say here, if context underscore vbak node is what, is bound, if it is bound, what I have to do, bind the sales orders, bind the sales orders. So I'll say context underscore vbak underscore node of what, bind underscore table, what is the internal table, t underscore vbak. Done. Okay, so save it, check for the syntax errors, no errors, activate the method. Let me activate the whole component once. Done, it is activated. When I refresh, when I say F5, right, so I got the data. What is the next requirement now? This Veblen column should be shown as what? Button. The Veblen column should be shown as button. Okay, so let's see how to do it. Any questions so far? Simple. So in order to show this column as button, we have to get the reference of this column. Before getting the reference of the column, I have to get the reference of the entire table. Before getting the reference of the entire table, we have to get the reference of the interface controller. Before getting the reference of the controller, you have to instantiate the use component. Same process. So what I'll do, I require that what okay, what you have to do now, first you have to include that use component at what level, in view 1 level, so that two methods get generated na? So in the view 1 level, in the properties, okay, I'll say create control. You say what you have to include here, the two entries related to what, vbak, yes or no. So two method gets generated. I'll choose this entry and let me choose another entry. Done. So two method get generated, wd underscore cpus, wd underscore what, cpi fc. Okay, so we have to get the reference of component usage, all those things. So instead of declaring those references everywhere in the views, I'll declare it globally. What I'll do, understood. So in view one also, I have to get the reference of component. Here also I have to get the reference of the component. Here also I have to get the reference of the component. So same variable I have to use it in what, many places. So what I'll do here, as part of component controller, right, as part of component controller, I'll go to what, attributes. Let me declare that, what is that, o underscore component usage public ref2, what is the interface we know, if underscore w underscore component underscore what, usage. Understood? I'm declaring at what level, component controller attribute, so that I can use it in all the views. Then what, o underscore what, interface controller public type ref2, what is that, iwci underscore slv underscore wd underscore what, table, iwci underscore slv underscore wd underscore table. Okay, next, o underscore what, config public type ref2, what is that, interface, what is the class, cl underscore wd underscore what, config underscore what, table. Oh, not there, huh? What is that? If you call that get model, WDR. Hmm? I missed WD there. Yeah, if you go to this interface, we are calling which method? Get model. What does it returns? Aha, SLV I missed. CL underscore what? SALV underscore WD underscore config table. It's not only WD, it is CL underscore SALV underscore WD underscore config table. Done. Then I'll declare another thing. O underscore column public type ref to CL underscore SALV underscore WD underscore what? Column. Right, so I am declaring all the four global references and I made it as public. So what is the meaning? I can access it in any of the views within the same component. Is it clear? I require these variables everywhere in each of the view, so that's why I'm declaring it globally as part of component controller. Done. So now let us go back to our wd do init method. So here in the wd do init method, see the technique. Yeah, here only if it is bound, here only, or I'll say, yeah, here only. What is the step here? Logic for what? Displaying what? ALV column as what? What button? What is the first step? Instantiate the used component. How many used components are there? 3. ALV what? VBAK. How do we instantiate? You have to call which method? WD underscore CPUs, which returns the object of which interface? If WD component usage. Where is that if WD component usage available? At component level. How do we use it at the view level? Prefix with what? WD underscore comp underscore controller. Yes or no? It is available here. Inside this it will be available. If you double click on this, is it available here? Just check. Right, all are available inside this interface. What is the object of that? WD underscore com controller. So of O underscore CMP underscore what usage is equal to, okay, how do you call that method? WD underscore this of, what is the method name? WD underscore CPUs underscore what is the component usage name? ALV what? VBAK. ALV VBAK. Okay, instantiate the used component. Next, what you have to do, check whether what? Check whether used component is what? Component is what? Active. Otherwise, what you have to do? Otherwise, create it. So what I have to do here? I'll say if what? WD underscore comp underscore what? Controller of what? If WD underscore comp underscore controller of O underscore what? CMP underscore VSG is what? Is bound. What I have to do? I have to create the what? No, not bound. Okay. If O underscores as what? As what? As active component. As active component is what? initial. Okay, as active component is initial, what I have to do? I have to create that. So here I'll say create underscore what components. Done. One more if block is missing anywhere. Done. Okay, so what is the next step? Get the reference of what? What? Interface controller of what? Component usage what? ALV VB AK of component usage ALV VB AK. Understood? So how do you get the reference? WD underscore CPI FC. Again you declare that globally. WD underscore comp controller of what is that I declared globally? O underscore what? Interface underscore controller is equal to WD underscore this of what? WD underscore CPI FC underscore what? ALV VBAK. LVBAK. Done. Next, next what? If WD underscore is what? Is bound. What I have to do? Here I have to say get the what? Reference of what? ALV table of what? Of component usage. What is that? ALV VBAK. How do you get the reference? By calling the method get model. So I'll say yeah, it is already declared globally. So WD underscore comp underscore controller of what? O underscore what? What? Config table is equal to what is that method? Get underscore what? Model. Get underscore model. Done. Let me check the syntax. O underscore config table is unknown. Huh? What I declared here? O underscore what? Only what? Config, not config table. So let me come back to the view. In the view level, the methods, the WD method, config is equal to what? So done. Might be I need to activate the whole component once. I click on this and say activate. Done, it is activated. Okay, so simple. First, what you are doing, we are getting the default data. If the data is available, we are getting the reference and binding the node. What is our agenda? To display that ALV column as what? Which column? Webline column as what? Push button. So you have to get the reference of the column. Before getting the reference of the column, you have to get the reference of the entire table. Before getting the reference of the entire table, you have to get the reference of the interface controller. Before that, you have to instantiate what? Used components. That's what I did so far. What I did here, first I instantiated the use component. Okay, if it is what not active, what I have to do, I have to create that. I have created, then get the reference of what? Interface controller. Okay, by calling which method? WDCPFC. If it is bound, what I am doing, I am getting the reference of what? ALV table of the component usage what? So and so. Done. one more if I have to give, now where I gave it, I should get the syntax error. I'm not getting any syntax error. Already I closed it here. Okay, okay, done. Let me use a pretty printer. Done. Before I continue, any questions so far, please ask me. These steps are common. These four steps are what? Common. Done. So now what I'll do next steps here. Here, here I'll say if w underscore controller, if w underscore controller of what config is what bound, if it is bound, what I have to do, I have to get the reference of what ALV column, get the reference of the ALV column. Which column? VBLM. VBLM. Okay. So if the config is bound, I have to get the reference of the ALV column what? VBLM. So how to get the reference? Get column. So I'll go to pattern. I'll go to pattern here. What is that object? WD underscore comp underscore what? Controller of what is that? O underscore what? What? Config. What is that interface? CL underscore WD underscore config table. What is the method I have to call? Get underscore what? Column. Get underscore column. Not there. Huh? Might be. It is a part of a interface. It is not a direct method. It is a part of a interface. Let me check it. Yeah. Get column is a part of what? An interface. I'll just choose this get column. Done. We have to give the ID of the column. What is the ID of the column? Veblen returns a reference. That reference I declared globally. WD underscore comp underscore controller of what? What? O underscore what? Call. Done. Right? So I got the reference of the ALV column Veblen. Okay, so save it, check it. Done. Now what I'll do, if what? WD underscore comp underscore controller of what? O underscore call is what? What? Bound. If it is one, what I have to do? I have to prepare the button. Prepare the button. Okay. For what? ALV columns. How do you prepare the button means? See here. We have some classes CL underscore WD underscore what? I always have forgot this. CL underscore SLV underscore WD underscore UIE underscore what? Button. Let me check. Yeah. CL underscore SLV underscore WD underscore UIE button. See the properties. Can I create the object for this class? Yes, it is public. What is the description? Button in the cells of what? ALV output. Okay, so I need to create the object for this class. Before creating, here I'll declare the reference first. Data what? O underscore what? O underscore what? Button. O underscore button. Type ref2. CL underscore SLV underscore WD underscore UIE button. So before creating the object, check the constructor of this class. I am checking for the constructor. Check the parameters. There are no what parameters. I can directly create the what button object. So here I'll say, since I don't have any this thing, I'll create the button. O underscore what? Button. Okay, done. Am I clear? Now what I'll do, if what? O underscore button is what? What? Bound. Okay, what I have to do here, we have to set the button text to what, weblen values. That weblen values should be shown on the button, na? Set the button text to what, weblen values. So in the button class itself there is a method. Always I forget these things. Yeah, what is that? Set underscore text underscore what? Field name. Sets a field with the button text in what? Individual cells. Instance public will check the signature. It takes values what type? String. So simple logic here. I'll go to, yeah, here I'll say, how do you say what is the button object? O underscore button. What is the method name? Set underscore text underscore what? Field name. What you have to set here? Button text. Okay. So already we are in the Weblen field now, right? So I'll just give what? Weblen. Let's see what happens. Set the what? Button text to what? Weblen values. Let me save it. Done. Okay. Now what you have to do? Set the cell editor to what? What? Button. So in the config table class, if you go to the config table class, in the config table class, we have a method called as what? Set cell editor. We have a method called as set cell editor. Oh, not there, huh? Not this one, sorry. In the column, cl underscore slv underscore what? In the column class, there is a method called as set cell editor. Yeah, sets a UI element that is displayed in the instance public. What does it take? It takes a table cell UI element. It takes what? UI element. So set cell editor. Set cell editor. So what is the reference of the column I got? Yeah, wd underscore comp underscore controller. What is the column reference? O underscore call set underscore what? Cell underscore what? Editor. Set underscore cell underscore editor. It has got a parameter value. Okay, is set cell editor. What is the button object? O underscore what? Button. I know this is confusion, but once I do the second view, you'll understand easily. Save it, check it, no errors, done. Activate this. Let us see how it appears. Refresh. Okay, so what is the story here? Simple. Up to this, we understood. First, you have to what? Instantiate the use component. Check whether it is active or not. If not active, create it. Get the reference of what? Interface controller. What you have to do, we have to call which method? CPI FC. Okay. Once I got the reference of the interface controller, you have to get the reference of the ALV table. Of which component you say? ALV what? VB So I am calling that particular what? Get model. Then after that, if the ALV table reference is bound, I have to get the reference of which column? Weblen column. How do you get? By using that config table object, you have to call which method? Get underscore what? Column, which returns the object of which class? CL underscore SLV underscore WD underscore column. If the column reference is what? Bound, what I am doing? I have to prepare the button. Na? How do you prepare the button? So and so. Okay. Then if the button is prepared, what I have to do? On top of that button, you have to display the webline values. No? So set the button text. What is the method? Set text field name. You have to give what? Webline. Then we have to link that button with a column. Na? What is the column reference I got? O underscore what? Call. In that column class, we have a method what? Set cell letter. Set it to what? Button. Done. Now, now I got the button. So when I click on this, some event will be triggered. Na? Some event will be triggered. Okay. So what I have to do now, I have to handle the event. Earlier, if the button was there on the what toolbar, what was the event triggered? On function. Na? Day before yesterday was in on function. Now the button is there in what? ALV cell. We are doing the action in the view. Na? So in the same view, I'll go to what? Methods tab, method list. I'll to declare every event should have what? Event handler method. So I'll say what? Handle underscore yeah, some name I'll give handle underscore what? On click off. We are going to click on what? Sales document. Na? So handle underscore on click underscore what? Sales doc. Some meaningful name. Handle underscore on click underscore sales doc, or let me give it as handle underscore on click underscore sales. What is the method type here? What is this? Event handler. Then on click of sales document button. Here you can see you have to provide what? Event handler method name. You have to provide the event handler method name. So here I have to say browses. It is showing many events. So what is one of the event here? On underscore what? Click. What is the description? After click in the cell of what? ALU output. So this is the event you have to handle. On underscore what? Click. On underscore click. Okay. So let me save it. Acha, acha. It is saying that the name cannot begin with what? Handle itself. So it might be it is a keyword. So I'll give what? And. Am I clear? Done. So I declared what? Event handler method for which event? On underscore click of which view? V1. Am I clear? So now I have tried the logic in this now. Understood? Whenever that on click event is triggered, SAP will call what? Event handler method. So let me write the logic in the event handler method. As of now, what I'll do, I'll just fire what? Outbound plug to what? Navigate to what? Second view. So already one outbound plug is there now. What is the outbound plug name? To view 2. So already we know how to fire. What is this? wd underscore this of what? Fire underscore to what? View 2 underscore what? PLG. Okay, so save it, check it, no errors, done. So what I did in the view, I just declared one event handler method for the event what? For the event what? On click. Okay, so that control comes to event handler method. Then I'm firing the outbound plug. Let me refresh. This is view 1. I'll click on 4975. Good. It is going to what? The next ALV grid. Let me go back to this WD unit method. So any questions, please ask me. Hmm? What you have to do now? When I click on the button, I have to identify which sales document I clicked. I have to get the sales items. Okay, I have to get the sales items and then fire the outbound plug. I have to bind it. I have to bind it to which node? VBAP node. Na? So let's see how to do it. Clear? So let us go back to the event handler method. Now this is the event handler method for which event? On click. So in object oriented, we know events might contain export parameters which can be imported by what? Event handler method. So if you go to this event handler method implementation, let me check whether it has imported any parameters. No. Yes, it has imported some two what parameters. One is WD event, which is the object of a reference of a class. R underscore param is also a reference of what? An interface. What is the description here? Identifies click in a cell of what? ALV output. So this is the object of this class now. This class contains, sorry, this interface contains no methods, contains one instance what attribute. What is this? Value. How to access instance attributes? By using what? Object. What is the object given by SAP? It is available in the form of event parameter. What is the event parameter? R underscore param. So I'll access this particular attribute. What does it do? Okay, value. What is this? Read only selected na. Read only selected means I cannot set the value. Whenever we access, it returns the value. Read only checkbox is selected means we cannot set the value. Whenever we access, it returns the value. What does it returns? It returns the reference of what? Data. Data can be any type na. SAP cannot predict that what data you are clicking. It can be material, it can be customer, it can be sales order, purchase order. So they gave what a generalized thing. What is the type ref to what? Data. So see the technique. So what is the instance attribute I have to access? Value. How to access the instance attribute? By using the parameter what? R underscore what? Param. So see the technique here. I'll declare field symbols. Fs type what? Any. Okay, here I'll say assign what is the parameter? R underscore param of what? What is the instance attribute? Yes, value of what? Star. Very clear? R underscore param of value of star to what is the field symbol? What? Fs. Data. It refers to what? Data. Whatever the data is there in that. Field symbol can hold any kind of data. Na? We don't know what data. It depends on the user what it is clicking. Understood? How to assign a value to field symbol? By using what? Assign keywords. Then what I'll do? Now I'll say get the what? What? Sales items based on what? Selected sales document. So items I require internal table na. So I require that context node. So I'll just go to this. Earlier I mapped only VBAK. Now let me map what? VBAP nodes. Done. It is mapped. Now I'll go to methods. In the methods I'll say select what? Weblen POSNR material number. What else? NETWR from what? VBAP into table. What is the internal table? T under I have not declared. I have declared the internal table no data T underscore VBAP type WD underscore what this of what elements underscore what VBAP underscore note. Okay, into table what T underscore VBAP where Weblen equal to what FS if what size of bars is equal to what 0. If size of bars is equal to 0, what I have to do? Yes, get the what reference of the node. Which node? VBAP node. No, no. This can hold any value, na? Did you declare that field symbol is of type Veblen? No. It can hold any dynamic value. Any. Work area, yes. Yes. What you are assigning here? This will hold only one value, na? This will hold only one value, na? Okay. So that's why I said what like this. Anyway, I'll debug, you'll understand. So get the reference of the node. So data context underscore VBAP underscore node type ref to what? If underscore W underscore context underscore nodes. Get the reference. It is under root. If W context node, what is this? Get child node. Name of the node is wd underscore this wd context underscore vbap underscore node. Reference is what? Context underscore vbap underscore nodes. Then what I have to do? If what? Context underscore vbap underscore node is what? Is bound. Then what you have to do? You have to bind the sales orders now. Bind what? Sales what? Items. Context underscore VBAP underscore node of what? Bind underscore what? Table. What is the internal table? T underscore VBAP. Then here what I have to do? I have to fire what? Outbound plug to what? Navigate to what? Second view. Understood? Navigate to second view. Done. Here also what? End if. Here else you say, what is this? Flash message to indicate what? No sales items. Save it. Check for the syntax errors. Activate this. Let me use pretty printer. Done. Okay, so let me execute once. Okay, I got this. I'll select 4973. Done. I got 4973. Am I clear? I got the 4973. Here, actually, you have to take one more button here to go back. Again, means you have to take outbound plug here. There, you have to take inbound plug. So, fire one. Then I can go back. Here, I have not written that. Fine. So, see the. I'll debug this. Just observe. Where is the event handler method? This is the event handler method. Right. So, just observe here. I'm executing this. Yeah, I'll click on 49 what 75. What event is triggered? On click event. Control goes to what? Event handler method. So control is going to event handler method. Done. Yeah, you can see this event handler method has got one parameter. Na? What is that parameter? R underscore what? Param. R underscore param. So if you see this R underscore param, Okay, it is an object of one of the class. Okay, now in this r underscore param, okay, we have one attribute what? Value. What is the value here? 4975. Understood? So this is what here Veblen na. So that's why I took what? Field symbol. I'm assigning it to the field symbol. So I'll say F5. So if you see the field symbol now, what is that I got? 49 what? 75. 4975. Okay. Then I'm getting the item data. I got some 4 items. Then rest of the part is simple. Clear? So any questions in this part, please ask me. Event triggered is on click. That event has got two export parameters which are automatically imported by your event handler method. You need not do anything. It will be automatically imported. One of the parameters is what? R underscore para, which is the object of what? So and so interface. It is clearly saying what? Identifies the click in the cell of ALV output. If you double click on this, this interface has got one attribute what? Value. How to access instance attributes? By using what? Object. What is that object? R underscore param. Read only checkbox is selected na? Means I cannot set the value. If you access it, it returns the value. What it returns? Data. Data can be anything na? Because in this case the view is showing the Veblen. I may show customer, I may show purchase order. SAP cannot predict this now. That's why they didn't give it as integer character float. They gave it a generalized thing. So that generalized thing you have to store it in what? Field symbol. Okay, done. What is the next requirement here? When I move the cursor, I am getting the hotspot for every column. Na? Understood? I should not get the hotspot for every column. I should get the hotspot only for what? Only for what? Material. Am I clear? So let's see how to do it. Clear? So very simple. When you fire the outbound plug, when you fire the outbound plug, what is the method we are using? Fire underscore outbound plug num underscore PLG. On behalf of the inbound plug, one method will be generated. Na? What is that method? Andil followed by inbound plug name. Andil followed by inbound plug name. So the moment you exit here, first method which gets called here is what? That andil method. Okay, because it will enter through that method. So in the view 2, understood, in the view 2 only we have the inbound plug na. This inbound, on behalf of this you'll have one method na. What is that method now? Andil from view 1. Let me check. Handle from view 1. Okay, here what I'll do, I will write the logic to display that material as what hyperlink. Am I clear? So what I have to do here also, which column you have to display it as a link material. So you have to get the reference of this column na. Before that you have to get the reference of the table na. Before that you have to get the reference of interface controller. Before that get the reference of used component. What is the used component? ALV VBAP na. Same story na. So simple technique. Similar kind of logic I have to write it here na. So I'll just go back to what? V1. Let me copy that code from there. What is that code? Here. Simple code. Just observe here. Logic. I'll just copy this entire thing. Entire thing I'm copying. See the necessary changes. Logic for displaying ALV column is what? What? Link to action. There's a U element called link to action. Now see here. Instantiate the use component what? Acha, before that I'm sorry. You have to include that use component in this view 2 also na. Okay, so now first of all come to what? V2 what? Properties. V2 knows only about the component controller. What I have to do here? In V2 properties, I have to include information related to this VBAP only na. Am I clear? This is what we have mapped for VBAP node. Understood? So I'll include this one by one. Done. So on behalf of this inclusion, what happens? Two methods gets generated. WDCPUs, WDCPI, FC. Now go back to that method. Yeah, here only. Yeah, indicate instantiate the use component. What is that? ALV VBAP. What is that? What is that? ALV what? VBAP. I need not declare it again. Already I declared at component level, na? Right? Then check whether use component is active. This is common. Then get the reference of the interface controller of the component usage what? ALV VBAP. So here, yeah, what is the method I am calling here? W underscore CPI FC underscore what? ALV VBAP. If it is bound, if it is bound, get the reference of, oh sorry, yeah, if it is bound, get the reference of the ALV table of the component usage what? ALV what? VB what? AP. So same thing, config WD component interface control get model. Done. Then if it is bound, get the reference of which column? Yes, material number, MAT NR. Okay. So config, same method. What is that? Get column. Get column. Method is same. Get column here. Get column. What is the column name now? Material number na. So id is equal to what mat nr. Okay, I'll get the reference. If it is bound, prepare the what link to action for what alv column. For button, what is the class? cl underscore salv underscore what wd underscore ui underscore button na. So cl underscore w underscore ui underscore star. You'll have checkbox, radio button, whatever it is. What is this? Link to action. Hyperlink in the cells of what? ALU output with a defined action. So this is a class. Can I create the object for this class? Yes, public. Do we have any constructor with parameters? Construct is there, but no parameter. So directly I'll create. So this is a class now. So that's what I did here. What is that? Yeah. Am I clear? So type ref to what? So and so. Okay, link to what? Action. Okay, link to action. I'll give the reference as O underscore what? Link. Create object what? Create object what? O underscore what? Link. Okay, in that link only I have to show the material numbers now. So if what? O underscore what? Link is what? Bound. Set the what? Link text to what? To what? Material number value. So let me go and check in the same class. In the link to action also, you'll have that method somewhere. Set text field name or somewhere you'll have it. Do we have that? Yes. What is this? Set text field name. Here also same. What is this? Type what? String. Okay, so I'll say O underscore what? What is this? Link. Set text field name. What is that field? Field name? Material number. Okay, then set the cell editor to what? Earlier button. Now what? Link to action. So already I got the column reference na? So what is the method? Set cell editor. What is this? Oh sorry, O underscore what? Link. That's it. Understood? So where I wrote the logic, I don't require one of the if, I think. Let me check. In the handle method. Okay, this is already closed. One, two, three. Done. Okay. So let us check it now. Okay, now see here. Test it. I'll click on 4974. Good. See here. Okay, this is coming, but you can see the appearance is different. Nah? This is nothing but what? Link to what? Action. Am I clear? You can see it's coming in bluish color. This is normal thing. Nothing will happen here. Here nothing will happen. But here if I click on this, some event will be what? Triggered. Some event will be triggered. Okay. So what is that event? Again same. On click only. Okay. So we are performing the action in what? Second view. So how do you approach? In the method list. Here I'll say what? And underscore what? On click of what? Material. Some meaningful name. What is this thing? Event handler. Get what? Material plant data. So when you click on that hotspot also, the same event is triggered. So browse this. What is that event? On underscore what? Click. Okay. Of that one. Done. So save it. Here I have to write the logic now. What is that logic? You have to identify what? Selected material, get the material plant data, all those things. So again, I can copy the logic from there now. So let us go back to what? V1. Here, let me just copy the logic from here. Where is it? This one, yeah? Yeah, same logic, similar logic. Come to this V2. Yeah, here. Okay, so see the technique. FS type any fire outbound plug to navigate to what? What? Third view. Okay, value so and so. Get the what? Get the material what? Plant data based on what? Selected material. Based on selected material. So I require that node here also. Which node? MARC node. So what I'll do here in the context, what? I'll take what? MARC node. I'll place it there. Is it clear? Done. Now, yeah, here data T underscore what? MARC elements underscore what? MARC underscore note. What are the fields? Material number, works, and what? EKGRP from what? MARC into what? Corresponding fields of what? Table T underscore what? MARC. Why? Because this is referring to the entire structure. Na? Am I clear? That's the reason I have to use corresponding. Actually, we should not use this. So how to avoid that? You create a structure and refer to that, or else you create that fields attributes manually. Only three fields you create manually. Okay, done. Where what? Where what? MATNR equal to what? FS. If size of R is equal to 0, get the reference of which node? MARC node. Context underscore what? MARC node. Done. Get child node. What is this? MARC node. Context underscore what? MARC node. If context underscore MARC node is bound, bind what? Material plant data. Context underscore what? MARC underscore node T underscore what? MARC, fire outbound plug to navigate to what? Third view. Oh, this is not meaningful. Hmm. Okay, so assign the selected what? Material to what? What? Field symbol. Okay, so here fire underscore, what is this? To view 3 underscore PLG. Done. Flash message to indicate no what? Material plant data. Save it, check it, done, activate this. Am I clear? So simple technique. Then in view 1 also let me change that text. Assign selected what? Sales document to what? Fill symbol. Save it, check it, activate this. Done. Let me activate the all component. I'll click on M19. What happened? Hmm. We are getting it. No, the browser settings. What happened? Let me close this. Let me activate the whole component. Okay, I'll put the breakpoint here. Did I link the outbound plug of second view with the third view? Ah, I think plug name is wrong. Let me check. I'll go to V2. In that event handler method, fire underscore to view 3. Correct only, na? Correct one. Everything is correct. Let me test it. I'll click on 4975. Done. I'll click on M15. It's getting this thing. Why it is not going there? It is going to what? Event handler method. Is it going there? Yes. What is the value of fs? M15. Done. Am I getting the data? I got what? 4 records. Huh? Let me check the contents. Yeah. M15 plant is different. Done. EKGRP. What is the value? 004. Fine. I'm getting what? Purchase group also done. Now I'm getting the reference of the note. Okay, I got the reference. If it is bound, I'm binding the what material plant. Then I'm firing the outbound plug. I'm firing the outbound plug. Yeah, I got it, na? I got it. See, you understood what is the problem? That node is referring to what? Entire what? Structure, na? So that is the issue. You have chosen, but when it is generating the internal tables at the background, see, okay, while creating the context, you have given the structure as what? MARC, and you have selected only what? You have selected only what? Three attributes here. But based on this node at the background, one internal table gets generated. Na? If you check that, if you check that, see, where is that? Yeah, elements underscore what? MRC, type what? Understood? You have selected that, but it will refer to the structures. That's the reason you create your own structure and refer, or don't refer to any structure. You create only those three fields manually. I mean, here in the context level, it will show only three attributes. But internally, based on every node you create, an internal table work area gets created. Na, that will refer to what? The dictionary structure. That's the reason you should be very careful. Yes, internal all the fields. That's why on the when you are doing that external context mapping here, we have mapped which node here? Here. We have mapped which node? MARC node. Na? MARC node is referring to what? MARC. So that entire fields are mapped to what? Data. So in the output also it will show what? All the things. Okay. Now without debugging, let me try to execute. Why it has taken that much time? Where is that? Remove the breakpoint. Let me re-execute that. Yeah, the reason why it is not showing the third view is immediately is because of the too many fields. Okay, so you have to adjust that. I'll choose again Webdynpro component 23. I'll choose 4977. Okay, now here when I click on this, it's compressing first. Now when I click on this, it may take some time. Now we are getting. Okay, but this is not good practice. Yeah, create the again in some projects what happens is you should not create too many structures also. So at that time, if you want that structure to be used in many places, go and create the structure. If it is only for a particular object, you create the attributes manually. Okay, so like this we can proceed further. Am I clear? Done? Any questions?
Manually use like
Hmm?
that locally we have to create the structure.
No, 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 no. Manually means what I am trying to say is don't refer to any dictionary structure.
Okay.
Create what? Node. Test underscore what? Node. Don't refer to any dictionary structure. Just create an empty node. Under that node, you create the attributes one by one. Right click on the node, create the attribute. Three attributes you create. Understood? So that is a good practice. If the structure, if you want to use it in many places in the project, yes, you can go and create the structure, then refer that structure. Okay. Again, creating too many structures also is not recommended. If it is reusable, yes, we can do it. Okay. So I'll stop now. We'll continue tomorrow with the other features. Okay. It requires practice online. Okay. So if you spend time, then it will be easy. And don't think of the entire output at once. Do it part by part. Children, so I'll stop. We'll continue tomorrow.